friends, it's Candace and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk about, how to go about booking a custom tattoo. So it's really easy. There's just some things that you can do to make it a little easier, or like it's easier if you have a little bit of knowledge ahead of time if you've never done it before. So the first thing you could do is either find an artist or an idea. Either one could come first. Whether you found your artist ahead of time, you just love their stuff, you love how all their tattoos come out. It's better if you love how all the tattoos come out, because then, you know, like whatever idea you throw at the artist, they will make something that you like. It's important when coming up with an idea that you're sticking to your artist's style. Now, some tattoo artists don't necessarily have like a set style. Those type of artists, it's probably a little bit more easygoing with like the structure of your email and what you're wanting, because they're not like set on a specific style. Like a lot of artists really hone in on one style and they really make a name for themselves. So the first thing to think of, make sure the style that you want is the artist's style if they have a specific style. Now, some artists, like they're just set in only doing like black and gray, like they always do that, but they'll be open to other designs. But you can kind of tell what type of artist is what, at least in my opinion. Like you can tell the people at your local tattoo shop that are just good at everything, but they mostly post black and gray because black and gray is probably the most common thing that people want in general, but that they're good at other things and they still post and do other things too. Those types of people, you could probably, any genre, you could probably ask them for. But there are some artists who make a name for themselves for a specific style, so pay attention to that. So whether you find your idea first or find your artist first, make sure you build your idea into the realm of what the artist can do. I got my notes on my phone. Once you come up with your idea / find your artist, you should check the location. I mean, like, maybe you should check the location before you find the artist. Make sure they're local, or make sure you'd be willing to travel to where they are. Don't email it to... People have emailed me. I'm a tattoo artist. I didn't say that at the beginning of the video. People have emailed me asking for a tattoo, and like even some of my coworkers, and then they say, oh, I didn't realize you were in New Jersey. And it's like, well, I don't know how I could have made it clear, because the shop I work at is in my bio, and I feel like whenever I would look for an artist, I would probably look at where they're located, where they're going to be working, where am I going to have to go to get the tattoo. Like, this is something to think of ahead of time. Where are they located? Now, some artists travel. Not every artist does conventions, and not every artist who does conventions goes to every convention. So just because you live near Omaha and this person does conventions doesn't mean the person is going to go to the Omaha Tattoo Convention or whatever it's called. So look at where they are, and if you don't have anyone good near where you are, look at a convention near you, look at the artist list, find a style that you like, make sure you click on their Instagram or wherever they have their portfolio, their website, scroll through their whole portfolio, make sure you like what they're doing, because just because they're going to a convention and they have a couple cool pictures in that little picture they post on Instagram doesn't necessarily mean you're going to like everything that they do. The best way to be happy with your custom tattoo is if you like all of the tattoos the artist does. I'd be willing to bet that when you show up and see the design they drew for you specifically, you're going to be happy no matter what, if you like everything they do, right? Okay, so once you get your idea, find your artist, figure out where it's going to be, whatever, like if you have an idea, and be careful for conventions. Don't get your hopes up too high. There's usually only like 2 or 3 days in a convention. And who knows if the artist is booked or not already, so you might have to wait till the next year. Like, they might be booked by the time you find them, but then you can say, like, okay, I know usually artists, if they're going to do conventions year after year, they'll probably go to some of the same ones. So keep that in mind. Find your artist ahead of time if you can. Some conventions book out months and months ahead of time, so some conventions might already have a list. Anyway, I passed that part already. After that point, you want to check how your artist prefers to communicate. If your artist says no DMs in their bio, even if they only have 400 followers, like even if they don't have like a lot of people, don't DM them. Especially if they have like 100,000, because there's no chance they will find your DM through all the DMs they probably get a day, probably not even related to tattoo inquiries. So there's probably a reason why your artists would want you to email, or a lot of artists have a website and they want you to click on that link. They want you to fill out the form. They have a form where the form is set up so that they can speed up the process for themselves and for you. The form will ask your name, tattoo location. It'll probably ask for pictures. It'll probably ask for pictures of where you want the tattoo. So make sure you're looking. Is there a form you have to fill out? Is there an email you have to look for? If they take DMs, sweet, go ahead and leave a DM. But check how they want to communicate with you. If they have a form especially, they're probably not going to answer a DM with any seriousness. And I know a lot of tattoo artists probably like to go through like their own website and things like that. It probably has the potential to make the artist look more legitimate, and it helps them keep things organized and keeps things concise so they're not going back and forth. You'd be surprised how many people email me being like, are you free for a tattoo? They'll email or DM me being like, hey, do you still tattoo? And I'm like, how did you get my email? And yes, I tattoo. Did you have another question? Like, you want to be direct, so that's why a lot of artists do the booking forms on a website. And then if they don't have a form, because usually the form you don't have to worry about any like booking like inquiries. Once you find their Instagram and want to contact them, make sure you double check the highlights. Make sure you double check their pinned posts to make sure you're not missing anything, because they might have directions that they prefer to help speed up their process. And it depends on how many followers they have, how many inquiries they have, how far out they're booked. It depends on if they have an assistant, if it's just them. Like, they might not be able to get back to you very quickly. So if they have something written out that they want you to send them, make sure you read that ahead of time so that you can include everything they need at once. Because if they have to do a back and forth, especially if they don't have an assistant to help them. A lot of artists have assistants, but a lot of artists don't have assistants, right? So if it's just them, they have to do their own drawings, tattoo full-time, then check their email and get back to people. Like, not every artist is gonna email you back right away. So if you have to wait a couple weeks and they have to say, where did you want the tattoo? Or they have to say, how big did you want the tattoo? If they have to ask any questions, did you want color? Did you want black and gray? Like, any question that you leave for the tattoo artist to ask is just another time. Like, if they only respond to emails every 2 weeks, then your email back in 2 weeks is gonna be, how big did you want it? Because you never said, or something like that. So make sure you're very clear, and make sure if they're setting you up for success with, I don't even have a booking like inquiry thing on my Instagram, but if they're already trying to set you up for success, if they have one of those posts, so make sure you look for it, because that'll help them and you get booked faster. Once you do all of your due diligence, whether you do the form or if you email, this is for like if you email, because the forms are usually like self-explanatory, very easy to deal with. And also make sure you check your spams, because sometimes if you email someone, it might go back to the spam, or if you do the booking form, it might come to your inbox as spam. So don't forget to check your spam whenever you're like booking for a tattoo. Some artists, like if you're going to a local shop especially, like it might be likely that the shop or the artist prefers an in-person consultation. So like bear that in mind. You might not be able to just email back and forth. A lot of artists do just email back and forth nowadays, but there might still be a potential for in-person consultation, and that's going to be better had with like a home-based kind of tattoo artist. So if you want that clear communication in person, that might be the way to go. Once you get to the email, if they don't have like a booking like information form, there are some things that you want to make sure you include. You don't have to write that much. Keep it short and sweet, to the point, while having enough detail that they can kind of get an idea of what you're wanting and everything. And once they email back, you could probably add a little bit more detail, but I probably wouldn't change the idea, because they might like the first idea, not the second idea. Just bear in mind, keep it short and sweet. You can add a couple extra details after if there's anything specific that you didn't want to just like drown on and on about. But especially for the first email, try to keep it a little bit more concise if you can. any details that are very important, maybe add them in. You probably won't have too much back and forth with the artist if they're really booked out and you want a really custom piece and they're really known for custom pieces. Like, they probably have a line out the door. Not every artist, but some. The first thing you want to do is, if they don't have a specific style, make sure you let them know what style, whether it's in the form of pictures or just a writing description. Some things like neo-trad, like there's different ways to do neo-trad. So like, just pictures are very helpful in my opinion. I don't know if everyone likes that. Some tattoo artists probably don't like to get sent pictures of other people's tattoos, but I'm sure some people don't mind. I know majority of artists probably would not mind if you liked one of their tattoos specifically and you sent over their own tattoo as a reference picture, because then they can be like, okay, they like where I went with that. They like the shape of these leaves, or like they like how this snake head looks, but they want their own snake. You can get to the point a lot quicker if you're like, man, I like the leaves of this one, but I like the colors on this one, or like something like that. So make sure you describe what you want. Keep it sweet. Just say, I would like a snake with pomegranates. I liked your leaves from this tattoo that you did, and I would like shapes in the back. It could be any shape. Then it's like, okay, circles, pomegranates, those leaves that you liked, and then the snake. It's easy to build off. And like, it depends. For things like that, I would probably leave it up to the artist. Be like, hey, I like the mix of styles that you usually do, like these particular tattoos, but whatever. So make sure you're describing exactly what you want. I'm not really helping with the conciseness, but I'm not built for this. The first inquiry I sent to an artist, she never replied. I think I must have wrote too much. My friend ended up getting tattooed by her. It's kind of funny. But yeah, keep the email short and informative. When you include what you want tattooed, obviously send references, whether it's other tattoos, their tattoos, for an idea of a direction to go. Then you can also send photographs of actual things. Like if you want a specific flower, or if you want any specific symbol or something, make sure you can send a photograph of the actual thing, and the artist can draw while looking at the photograph for a reference. So it doesn't have to be a drawing or a tattoo already. Tattoo artists know how to draw tattoos based off of other things. Like, tattoo artists are built to like turn something into something that's tattooable. So don't be afraid to send a photograph, even if you don't have any other tattoos as references or drawings as references. Like, you can literally just send a photo of a rose. You can send a photo of a daisy if you want. Like, if you Google daisy, there's like 17 million different types of daisies. So like, it would be helpful if you, instead of just saying daisy, if you wanted a specific kind, send that, you know? Like daffodils, like there's so many different types of like daffodils, and they all look the same but also kind of different. Like, if you have a specific one that you like, send a picture of that one, if that makes sense, because otherwise they might do the other one. That's just for clarity. Pictures are way faster than like writing a whole like paragraphs and paragraphs, because your tattoo artist probably doesn't want to read paragraphs. They tattooed all day, they're coming home, they're like, I gotta do these emails, and I'm like, you don't want to read a novel when you're just trying to, and then half the time they don't even say what they want in the novel, and it's like, okay, I'm glad I know why you want this tattoo, but like, so what was it actually that you wanted? Like, it's not really clear, and you didn't say where you wanted it. Like, did you even want a tattoo, or did you want to just tell the story to me? So just make sure you're effectively communicating, and pictures are very easy to communicate. You can say, I love this rose, daffodils that look like this, the snake head that looks like that, or here's a photograph of the type of snake that I want. Because like, just because a person's a tattoo artist also doesn't mean they're an expert on snakes or flowers. Maybe if they only tattoo snakes, maybe they get a lot better, but for clarity, a photograph is very helpful. Along with that, I think I said make sure you tell them where you want the tattoo. If you want on your forearm, the outside or the inside of the forearm. This will be very helpful if you can send a picture, especially if you have other tattoos around. Because if they have to work around a bunch of tattoos, it would be helpful to know where they were, so when they draw, they're not drawing something that's just not going to fit in the space. So always, even if you don't have any tattoos, just for ease of mind, like, my forearm is pretty long and skinny because I'm kind of tall. Some people who are a little bit shorter or like a little bit chunkier than me, not judging, just saying maybe you're a little more muscular. A forearm doesn't always look like this. So when I say I want a forearm tattoo, they might not know that they have to draw something so long and skinny if they want it to be flat. Now, like, a lot of things can wrap and stuff, but that's important too. So it's helpful and effective to send a photograph of the area that you want tattooed along with saying where you want it. Hey, I want my inner forearm tattooed. Send a photograph. Don't be afraid to be open to the artist's style. Don't be afraid to mention that in the email. Just say like, hey, I love your work. It will be evident if you're sending pictures of their tattoos as references, but especially if you're sending other tattoos as references. I assume you chose that artist for a reason, so I would try to be open with what that artist wants to do. If you trust them to do your tattoo, you should trust them with their art and their abilities and their experience as a tattoo artist, that they know what's going to look good. They have their own art style, probably, and that's why you chose them. You chose them because you like their art style. So you don't need a play-by-play of the pictures as they're drawing it. You don't need anything else. You just need to say like, hey, I love your work. This is what I want. Can you do that for me? And that's why if you have specific works of them that you like a lot better, send those pictures. It will help so much to like point them in the right direction. Because I could draw leaves a million different ways. If you want leaves to look like that, I can do that. You know, I can draw that. I just need to know what you want. So be open to the artist's style and be open to telling them like what direction. And then beyond that, I'm not sure what else you could include in the email. Like, if you got the style, you got the color, you got the placement, send the pictures, send all the reference pictures. This is the next step, the actual booking of the tattoo. So depending on how far out someone's booked, you can't just say like, oh, I would like August 17th. Like, they might not have that available. And then something like that could create even more of a back and forth. So like, even if you had like the best description of what you wanted, if you're just giving dates, that's not helpful, right? The artist could give dates, but what would help the artist give dates if you point them in a direction. If you're only available Tuesdays and Fridays, make sure you include that, hey, usually I'm available Tuesdays and Fridays, but I'm open to whenever. So that opens you up to, if the artist is booked out 3 months, a year, you know what they want. If you have to call the shop, you can just tell the person when you call the shop. But asking just for a specific day is you're gonna get someone coming back being like, hey, I'm booked that day. What days usually work best for you? Or like, I guess if that was like a Tuesday, I don't know when the 17th is. But if that was a Tuesday, I guess the artist could be like, hey, other Tuesdays I have available are these. It would just be easier and it just makes more sense. You can give a specific day if you're hoping for a specific day, but just give general days of the week that work better. Be open, be accepting. Not every artist is going to be working on the days that you have off. So depending on the type of artist, you might have to take your own day off of work. This is their job every day. They can't just come in whenever you want, right? So just be open to the day, be open to the time frame. If they're booked out, that just means you found an artist that people like and want to go for and are willing to wait for, right? That doesn't mean if they're not booked out that they're not that good. They could be newer, they could be new to the area, they could be just bad at emailing people back. Maybe they like to keep their books a little more open so they can be more mobile. There's any number of reasons, but just so you know, they're not a bad artist just because they are not booked out a year. They're just different. Make sure you ask if they need any more info. And then beyond that, just make sure you give them enough time to reply to you. Like I said, some artists are working for themselves. They're doing everything. They're drawing everything. They're replying to everyone. They're trying to be active on social media. They're their own boss. They're their own artist. They do everything. They're their own assistant. 2 jobs there. Maybe 3 or 4 depending on all the things the tattoo artist wants to do. So be open and accepting. If you email back the day after you send the email, it's just going to get sent to the bottom of the list, especially if they're very popular. So just chill out, give it a couple weeks. If it's like 2 or 3 weeks and they still haven't replied, maybe then send an email. Be aware if the artist says that their books are closed or something, because that might be why they're not replying. But other than that, just be patient, because if they answer emails in order when they received them, yours is going to be at the bottom of the list if you email again every single day waiting for them to reply. And that might just annoy them enough that they don't reply at all. That is pretty much all I have to say. Don't forget to follow me on my Instagram, my tattoo Instagram at Chromatic Sauce, and my personal Instagram at Cadence L. Don't send me any garbage on my tattoo Instagram because you will ruin my day, but you can send me random things to react to on my personal Instagram. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe down below. You can check out the links to my description you can check out the links to my Instagram in the description down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave your feedback in the comments. Let me know anything, any tips, anything that you want to see next from me. And I thank you so much for watching. I love you. See you in the next one. Bye. I got this waiver in the mail yesterday, and I was like, I gotta use it right away. I used it yesterday, and then it was limp today, so I was like, I'll just revive it. But you know when you try to curl the same piece of hair more than once, and then by the second or third time, the second time went bad too, because you already curled it, and the hair is just confused, and then you try again, and it's just even worse. This side especially, that's what was going on, so don't pay attention to that. Bye.